People like you shouldn't come to places like this. Annoying. The quality of the food drops with you around. By the way, can you even afford this? Waiter, watch out for this guy. He's super broke. It was my mother's 60th birthday celebration. She had always raised me single-handedly. To celebrate, I had saved up and brought her to this Italian restaurant. I heard mocking laughter at me. My vision went dark with anger. My name is Mike. We were always struggling financially, so my mom was working tirelessly every day. The reason? My parents had divorced. Turns out, my dad had an affair. Though we received alimony and child support, life was still tough. I made do with what I had, always being frugal and trying to prolong the lifespan of my belongings. Once I hit middle school, I didn't join any clubs to save money and headed straight home after school. You're so dirty. You just reek of poverty. One day, as I was about to head home, I heard loud laughter near the girls' bathroom. That voice sounded familiar. It was Catherine from my class. Catherine was mean and would always taunt me about being poor. I took a quick peek and saw a girl surrounded by a few others, head hung low. It was Amy. I called her by her first name since she didn't like to be referred to by her last name due to her single-parent household. Don't come to school, you'll spread germs. Amy's situation seemed even worse than mine. Her shoes and uniform were worn out. Catherine and her gang were ridiculing her for it. Feeling as if they were mocking me too, the next thing I knew, I was standing between Catherine and Amy. So what if we're poor? None of you earn your own money anyway. Catherine kept rambling, but most of her arguments were weak, and I could easily counter them. Ooh, remember this. With a huff, Catherine and her gang left. I've totally been spotted. When I was thinking that casually, thank you for helping me. Amy said that to me, so I had no regrets. From that day, Amy and I became close friends. The bullying from Catherine wasn't as bad when we were together. We'd often hang out and even walk home together. As time went on, I started having feelings for Amy, but... What? You're transferring schools? Yes, Amy said simply, and transferred out. It was close to graduation, and I figured she must have had her reasons. Since it happened so suddenly, I didn't even get her contact details. My first love ended without a confession. A few months later, I was working in a clothing company while attending an online high school. I really wanted to start working after middle school, but you should at least get your high school diploma. My mom told me that, so she had me attend high school. Of course, I paid my school fees with the money I earned. All to make my mom's life a bit easier. Then, just before graduating, good news came. I'm being made a full-time employee. Incredibly, I've been chosen to work as a full-time employee at the clothing company where I've been employed. They said it's due to my strong work ethic, positive feedback from customers, and a recommendation from the store manager. I couldn't thank the manager enough. For a high school graduate like me to make it to the corporate office of a clothing company, I was over the moon. Of course, with my educational background, climbing the corporate ladder seems unlikely. But that's okay. Becoming a full-time employee means a pay raise, and I can make life easier for my mom. A few months later, just as I started getting the hang of my job, I was told to greet an important business partner visiting our corporate office. They were someone I absolutely couldn't afford to upset. I needed to be on my best behavior. Determined, I entered the reception room. There, in a sharp suit, sat a stern-looking woman. My heart sank when I saw her face. It was Catherine. Yes, the same Catherine who used to bully Amy and me. What are you doing here, Mike? Seeing me, Catherine laughed mockingly, much like she used to. In school, where things were more or less on equal footing, I could have talked back. But this was a professional setting. and she was an important business partner. I could only plaster a smile on my face and stay silent. It's been a long time. From rags to corporate, huh? Who did you know to get here? It's gone downhill if they're hiring the likes of you. Well, looking at you, just an ordinary employee. Do your best, I guess. Catherine smirked, took her opportunity to belittle me further, and then left. I wiped the cold sweat from my forehead. I later found out Catherine was a top performer in the sales department of our business partner. A rising star promised for promotions, the elite of the elite. No way an average employee like me stood a chance against her. I fought to avoid her as much as possible, but, to my horror, Catherine specifically requested to work with me. So, every time we had a business transaction, I had to face Catherine. This report is hard to read. Why not brush up on your language skills instead of always finding faults? Always had a distaste for uneducated folks like you. Every time we met, Catherine had a nasty comment ready. I had no choice but to endure, becoming a verbal punching bag, so to speak. But I never thought of quitting. Thanks to my dedication to my job, life with my mom had improved significantly. No way I was going to let my mom struggle again. With that mindset, I managed to brush off Catherine's cruel words. More than that, what was really bothering me was something else. My mom's 60th birthday was coming up soon. I've saved a good amount of money and want to celebrate it somehow. But embarrassingly enough, I've been so focused on earning money that I don't know what gift would be best. What should I do for her celebration? As I pondered this, my mom and I were watching TV. And then, "That looks delicious." Uncharacteristically, my mom whispered that a show featuring a renowned Italian restaurant in the neighborhood was playing on TV. Images of exquisite meals in the lavish restaurant interior flashed across the screen. I'd love to visit a place like that, even just once. Mom wasn't really asking or insisting. She was saying it more in jest. Taking out my cell phone, I discreetly looked up the restaurant. It was as expected for a high-end Italian place. Most of the menu was out of my budget. But the cheapest course, I might just be able to afford it. "Mom, let's go to that restaurant." "What? Don't be silly. You don't have to do that. I want to celebrate your 60th birthday there." Initially hesitant, my mom eventually gave in when I expressed my wish to honor her. "I'll have to brush up on my table manners," she joyfully remarked. Neither of us had ever eaten authentic Italian, so we both studied table manners extensively. On the day of our reservation, we arrived at the restaurant. I was dressed in a suit, and my mom wore an elegant dress she had rented for the occasion. "Welcome," the waiter greeted, leading us to our table. It was a table close to the entrance, and chairs were pulled out for us to sit. The room was adorned with luxurious furniture and decorations, and the entire floor was covered in a red carpet. Despite having done some research online and on TV, the opulence took both me and my mom a bit by surprise. "What would you like to drink?" The waiter presented a wine-only menu, but neither of us drank alcohol, let alone had any knowledge about wine, so we simply opted for grape juice. "Happy 60th birthday, Mom." We clinked our juice glasses, and Mom smiled with joy. "Let's start with the appetizers." The food served looked refined, something we'd only seen on TV. With our newly acquired, somewhat clumsy table manners, Mom and I began our meal. I was looking forward to a good time. That's what I thought. But reality isn't always so sweet. "Oh, what are poor people doing here?" Suddenly, a familiar voice came from behind me. "Why here, of all places?" was what I wanted to ask. I turned around to find Catherine. She was accompanied by a few colleagues. Probably on a business outing. "This place will lose its charm with you here," You'll ruin the taste of the food, Catherine continued, raising her voice even louder. And can you even afford this, waiter? Watch out for these folks, they might dine and dash. Our pleasant evening was instantly spoiled. However, making a scene wasn't the mature way to handle it. Being ridiculed was something I had grown accustomed to. I was ready to let it slide, until his mom looks just as poor. It's scary what genetics can do. A comment belittling my mom made my vision go dark. It was a rush of anger. Make fun of me all you want, but insulting my mom, who has always supported and raised me, was something I couldn't stand. Enough is. I stood up abruptly, knocking my chair back. Mike, calm down. Mom tried to calm me, but my anger was uncontrollable. I had reached my breaking point. What's all the fuss about? Perhaps because Catherine was so loud, or because I had stood up. The chef came out to see what was going on. I recognized him from a TV interview. He was likely the owner of the restaurant. The owner himself. Suddenly, Catherine flashed her charming business smile. I was just about to discuss the uniforms we'll be providing for your staff. It seemed this restaurant was a client of Catherine's company. Her earlier attitude was nowhere to be seen. Catherine ignored me and spoke directly to the owner. However, the owner gave Catherine a cold stare. About that, let's forget it. What? Catherine was taken aback by the unexpected response. The owner spoke with a mix of coldness and anger. You see, my daughter was bullied by you in the past, but she didn't want to mix personal matters with business. I respected her wishes, yet you were rude even to the person who had helped her. I don't want to do business with someone like you. The owner motioned to the waiter, who began to escort Catherine out. Wait a minute, there must be some mistake. This has to be a joke. Catherine, her face pale, tried to rush towards the owner, but the waiter quickly restrained her and assured her outside. Those waiters, they looked like gentlemen, but they seemed to be used to handling these kinds of situations with customers. But then again, I don't know the owner personally. What does he mean by savior of his daughter? As I stood there dumbfounded, a woman who clearly looked like she was in charge of the floor approached me. It's been a while, Mike. For some reason, she knew my name. She gave me a smile, but I had no idea who she was. I'm sorry, but you don't remember. It's me, Amy. We were in middle school together. Realization dawned. It was Amy, my first love from school. Actually, my parents got remarried, so I had to transfer schools. The man she referred to as her father was the owner. Now, Amy was supporting the restaurant as the head of the floor staff. When Catherine came for a meeting, I recognized her, but I didn't want to interfere with the business. Seeing her be so rude to you, though, I couldn't let it go. Amy's face lit up with a smile. You helped me out in the past, remember, so now it's my turn. I felt so refreshed after seeing Catherine get what she deserved. I was stunned to be reunited with my first love. But Amy's thoughtfulness made me happy, and all I could humbly say was, thank you, you really saved me. The owner, recognizing me as his daughter's benefactor, treated us to the most premium course. Amy explained each dish to us. Although it was a bit embarrassing to hear old stories in front of my mom. But thanks to that, we had a wonderful time. Thoroughly pleased with the impeccable service, we left the restaurant. But as soon as we got home, my mom said, I think I left something at the restaurant, can you go get it? She said it with a kind smile. I suspect it's just an excuse. However, this might be my last chance to enter the restaurant and speak with the owner. Taking advantage of my mom's excuse, I went back and bravely proposed a uniform order to the owner. It was partly my fault for canceling the previous order. But the owner responded positively, saying, I've been thinking about where to get the uniforms from. Can you provide some materials for consideration? Now, it was time to prove my worth. Having been ridiculed by Catherine so much, my improved proposal was well received by the owner. The restaurant decided to order their new uniforms for my company. This success led to my promotion. Me, a high school graduate. I did wonder about that, but my boss assured me that the company values employees who deliver results, boosting my confidence. Oh, yes. Speaking of Catherine, she never returned to our company after that incident. Rumor has it she was demoted after angering a major client. Even though she was competent at her job, she seemed to lack the respect of her peers, and no one seemed to object to her demotion. Well, she really got what she deserved. Thank you for all your help. Beyond just the uniform order, the owner often entrusts me with various tasks. Consequently, I've been visiting the restaurant more frequently. So, you see, I've had more opportunities to meet Amy. In fact, lately, most of my work-related interactions have been with her. It kind of feels like a blast from the past, and I can't help but feel genuinely happy. I can't shake the feeling that Amy seems happy too. Am I being overly confident? But deep down, I really have feelings for Amy. I plan to invite her to a movie soon. But that's a story for another day. Here's hoping my romantic journey goes smoothly. Hey, everyone, keep your fingers crossed for me, will you?